All right, so I'm just making sure the YouTube stream starts here, and then we are gonna get going. My internet has been fighting with me today, so just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, I think we're on. All right, we are live on YouTube and we are ready to go. So again, in the chat window, if you could just leave aha moments, thoughts, things that excite you, that kind of stuff. And in the question box, if you have any questions, that's where you can put those. Siobhan, if I have anything that I miss, feel free to just shout that out to me and I will make sure that I answer those questions as we go along. So let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is John Smith. For real, I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. So if you are on Twitter and you'd like to give me a follow, great. I appreciate that. If not, no worries. I'm also John Smith at bookcreator.com. So you can certainly, send me emails if you have any questions there. I taught special ed for 12 years. After that, I was a technology integration specialist for 7 years in a different school district. And now I am a teacher success manager here at Book Creators. So lots of webinars, lots of training, sales support, renewals, basically anything that I can do to help teachers and schools be successful at using Book Creator. That's really what I'm here to do. I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 11, 7, and 4. I love golf and I love clean cars. So if you're anywhere near Ohio and you have a dirty car, come on over and I will be more than happy to wash that car for you. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about back to school. We're going to talk about going back to school with Book Creator and ways that you can use Book Creator as you start to head back to school. All right, and before we do that, I am going to go into just a little bit of a quick review of a couple of things that I do think are important. And I will also be sure to send some links throughout the webinar today, or Siobhan will throw some links into the chat window to keep you busy. All right. Amy's laughing. If you're near Ohio and you want your car washed, I'm not joking too. I really do enjoy doing that. All right. So first things first. For those of you that have not ever experienced Book Creator, if there are some newbies in here, I do want to share a little bit of information that may help you out. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you go to our website at app.bookcreator.com and you're going to sign up for a free account. So when you go to app.bookcreator.com, it's going to look something like this. You're going to want to make sure, though, that you don't click on student. You want to click teacher, and then you're going to sign in with one of these options. We do have some other getting started webinars as well. So if you are interested, you can certainly take a look at our website and look at some of those webinars. But after you sign in, you're going to answer a few questions, jump through the hoops, and then it's going to take you to your library, which is what you see right here in front of you. So in the library, I don't want to worry about this just yet, but at the top left, there are 3 black lines. So you're going to click those 3 black lines and it's going to take you to your teacher dashboard. Now, this is a really important place. So again, whether you're new to Book Creator or you are a seasoned veteran, like some of you in there, I know, the teacher dashboard is an important place to go. The first tab I want to bring to your attention is the Discover tab. It is filled with tons of ideas for using Book Creator in your classroom. So if for some reason you leave today's webinar with no fresh ideas for using Book Creator, then this Discover tab is going to be there to help you. We have books by grade level. We have books written by our ambassadors on a wide range of topics. And then we also have books by subject area. So there's just, again, a ton of resources, thousands and thousands of ideas in here for how to use Book Creator. Another area that I really, really love is the Learn tab. And so again, even if you're a seasoned veteran of Book Creator, this Learn tab can really help you out. I use this Learn tab probably daily because there are support articles for all aspects of Book Creator right here. So if you just click any of those white tabs, you're going to get those support articles, and it's really going to help you if you have those questions. So definitely check those out. And then underneath that, as you're preparing to go back to school, this Learn tab also has a course, all right, our Book Creator Certified Authors course. And if you click that blue button, a new tab will appear, and then you get 14 videos talking about all aspects of Book Creator. And you can watch these on your own time. You can watch them in any order that you want. These videos range from about a minute to maybe 8 minutes at best. So lots of good information here, just walking you step by step through everything in Book Creator. So definitely good for review, good for if you're brand new to Book Creator. I mean, I've even had teachers, and this might be something you do as you go back to school. I've even had teachers show these videos to their students. Just throw it up on the board and show these videos to the students. And then that way the students are kind of Book Creator certified authors before they even jump in and start learning how to use Book Creator. So this might be something that you can think of, but I really love this. It's just real easy to follow along. There's a quiz at the end. And if you watch the videos and pass the quiz, then you become a Book Creator certified author. And you get this awesome badge that you can download and put into your social media or put on your email, whatever. It's up to you. But more importantly, you will have that deep, deep understanding of Book Creator. All right. All right. So let's start talking about some back to school stuff. Now, I think one of the first things that's probably the most important, and it might be on your mind as you go back to school, is what do I do with all of the libraries? So if you are like me, I just have tons and tons of libraries. And depending on the plan that you're on, you may have anywhere from one library all the way up to unlimited libraries. So if you have one of our unlimited plans, then you know what this looks like, right? This is a hot mess. And so when you start the new school year, the first thing you might want to do is kind of get rid of all of the stuff from the previous year, because you don't need that anymore necessarily with your students. So two things to think of as we go through this. First off, I'm just going to mention this icon right here, this locked library. It just remains locked. It's a private library for you. It's not meant for anybody else. I get requests every once in a while asking me, how do I unlock the library? You don't. All right. It's just a library that is locked and it's only for you. The single library that you can make then, or the remaining libraries, are all the additional stuff over here on the side. It's just this locked library just stays that way. All right. So as I'm preparing for the new school year, and I might want to get rid of some of the old libraries that I have that I just don't need anymore, just kind of taking up space. And so the way you're going to do that is you're going to click the three dots here. And when you click the three dots, there is an option to archive your library. All right. So when you archive your library, it will basically go into a hidden little spot. Okay. You will not lose any of the books. They're not deleted. It will go into this little drop down tab right here that says archived. And so if I click on an archived tab, I will see the thousands of libraries that I have archived right here. All right. And at any point, if you want, you can just click on those libraries and you can bring them back to life. So you can either bring back the entire library by clicking the three dots and restoring it, or if you want a specific book, you can click on the three dots and you can actually restore that book by putting it in your locked library. And then once it's in that locked library, then again, you can certainly move it into a different library if you want. Okay, so that's kind of the idea behind archiving. All right, so you can always bring these back at any point if you want. So I just restored a library here for demonstration purposes. I also want to mention something else that I think is probably in your minds. This library right here is an old library that I have that I no longer use. All right, I don't see these students anymore, and I don't use this. But one of the books in the library was published. All right, so we decided to share this book out with others and publish it. And so I want you to be aware of something that sometimes I didn't even realize. I wasn't even really thinking about it too much. But if you have a library that has individually published books like this one, I can click the three dots and archive the library. And I just click archive library. Now, guess what? The individually published books are still live. All right. So if you shared that book out on Twitter, or if you shared it out on social media, or friends or parents or community members, whatever, that book is still viewable. So they can still, as long as they still have that link, they can still see it. All right. Now, the other thing that we do have the ability to do is to publish an entire library. And if you publish the entire library, like this one here that says TWIMA projects, then I go to click the three dots and archive. It will not do that. All right. So as you're thinking about cleaning up your libraries for the coming school year, if you've published an entire library, you cannot archive it. If you've published individual books, then you can archive the library. So you can take that information and kind of wiggle things around if you need to, but that should help you clean up that space. All right. The next thing that I want to do is talk about this little tab over here on the right that says what's new. So some of us, it may have been a few months since we've used Book Creator last. It's the summer. We decided to take some time off. We're not making a lot of books for our students. Our students maybe aren't in there playing around in the libraries. So I think this is a good time to click that button that says what's new. And then you get a nice timeline of all of Book Creator's new features. All right. Now, we're certainly not going to go over all of these today, but this is a good refresher. So maybe you haven't touched Book Creator since April, right? Did you know that you can now change your avatar? Back in January, we built templates. There's a voice search for images now. Prevent unlocking. And we actually just came out with in June during ISTE, remixing and analytics. So this is definitely a cool place to go. Again, if you're in your library, you click the What's New tab, and then you go in and you check out the timeline and look at all the different things that maybe you haven't seen recently. All right. So as we move along here, we're going to start going back into my actual library today. And I want to talk about some really cool back to school ideas. And thank you, Siobhan, for grabbing that question. One of the first things that I like to think about, especially if I have one of the plans that has unlimited libraries, I like to think about using Book Creator in different kinds of ways. All right. A lot of times I joke and I tease our company and say the worst thing about our company is our name, because usually, math and science teachers and social studies teachers may not immediately think like, oh, yeah, we're going to write books, right? We might do science and social studies in a book, but maybe not write a book. So thinking about using Book Creator in a much broader sense, right, can be very helpful. And so I love this idea, again, especially with unlimited libraries, of creating digital portfolios for my students. Now, you could certainly do this in a library if you just have one library as well. But with this idea, we have a template book here. And Siobhan, while I'm thinking about it, could you throw the link into the remixable books? Could you put that into the chat window for me? That'd be great. This is in the link that Siobhan's going to put in of all of our books that we have right now that we found that are remixable. So in the past, you might be able to find a book that you liked, but you couldn't copy it. You couldn't do anything to it unless you knew the person who owned the library. Well, now we have a whole pile of books that can be remixed, and this is one of them. And so if you go to this link, you'll see all of these amazing remixable books. And so this one is very simple. It's just a digital portfolio. And what I love about this book is it really just gives the students a chance to compile their learning over the course of a year. And then when they parent-teacher conferences come up, or grade card time comes up, things like that, the students can sit down with the teacher, go through all of the stuff that they have compiled in this portfolio, and then they can really discuss things. So personal details page here, draw a picture of yourself using our pen tool. So again, if you're not familiar with Book Creator too much, everything that you need to know of is up here under the plus button. You just click the plus button and add any of these things to your page. If you're drawing a picture, it's under media and pen. So you can draw a picture of yourself. Maybe, talk about your family and friends. I know personally that as a teacher, I would see my students walking down the hallway, and I got really good at knowing my students. But I didn't always know maybe who their brothers and sisters were. So sometimes a kid would come down the hallway and they'd be like, "Hey, Mr. Smith," and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And I didn't realize that that was the younger sister of one of my students, right? Because it was just something maybe we didn't talk about. So I love this page because you can bring in your family, your friends, add pictures in there, draw pictures, take pictures, whatever, so that as a teacher, I know who the rest of your family is. And if I see them, then I'll be able to say something to them. So I really love this idea. All right. Love that. Yeah. And then the other thing I love too is this little button right here. This says, listen to our story. And so we all have a story to tell, right? All of us do, especially over the last like 18 months, right? I mean, we've all been infected by this pandemic, things that are going on in our countries, things like that. We've all been affected by all of this. And so we all have something to share. And I just love this record button here as a great way for you and your family to just kind of talk and say, this is our story and this is where we come from. This is why we moved. This is who we are. These are some of our struggles that we had this year, some of our successes. I think this is a really cool page. I don't think one would be enough for a lot of people. So you can certainly make a copy of that page and have multiple pages. What do I like to do, right? Is a really fun page. What do I like to do at home? What do I like to do at school? And a lot of times these two never intermingle, right? And so I think what's cool here is I would like to find out what my student does at home that they love. And then maybe find a way to bring that into school. So as I'm looking at this example right here, I love to play with the dog, right? I like to play Legos, all right, with my brother. And on the weekends, I like to bake. And so I'm looking at that and I'm immediately thinking of, taking care of pets, right? So there's step-by-step directions for feeding the dog and how much food you give them. Loving playing Legos, design skills, building, teamwork, collaboration. There's a lot of ideas there. Baking with my mom is just filled with math, right? So I love this. So I think if I saw a student that said they love to bake with their mom, then what I would do is I would say to that student, awesome. Can you bring in some of those recipes of things that you love to bake with your mom? And then I could use that as a math lesson, right? So I love this idea. And then the same thing at school, right? What are some of the things that I like to do at school? And then maybe we can take some of those things and bring them back to the home environment. So I really love this idea of, what I love to do. Social emotional learning is huge right now. And in this, we have a blog post that I'll share with you later about back to school. And in that, we talk about SEL, right? These students, for the most part, a lot of them are going back to school for the first time since the pandemic started. Some schools have gone back already, at the end of the school year, but there's still a lot of uncertainty. And that causes stress, right, among students and teachers and parents and community members and administrators. Everybody is stressed out. And so I love this idea of a well-being checkup, all right, being able to come into the classroom, open up Book Creator, have my well-being checkup, and just kind of circling, with the pen tool, how I feel this week, right, or on Monday morning, or maybe even at the end of the week, how do I feel? So I think this is just a really it's an important thing. It's one of those, I don't know, I guess for lack of a better word, it's a hot button topic right now, right? Because everybody's kind of talking about SEL. But my wife is a school counselor, and this is something that we talk about all the time. So this isn't something that should just be, oh, it's the beginning of the school year, tell me how you're feeling, and boom, we're going to leave it alone until the end of the school year. You can certainly use this a lot, right, throughout the school year. And I'm going to share something. It's not off topic, but this is off my list of things that I wanted to share with you, but I just thought of something I thought it'd be really interesting. So if you have this well-being page, you could have your students create a book and that be their digital portfolio. So they're going to keep this digital portfolio as the year goes on. And so you might want to do this well-being checkup every Monday, right? Or every Friday or every Wednesday. It doesn't matter when. But what's awesome is if I click Pages View, I can see this well-being checkup. Here's also another one. But what I can do is click Select, choose the ones that I want, and then click Copy To. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my library. All right, I'm going to find my library that my students are working in. And I'm going to see all of their books. Now, I won't work because I'm actually in the library, but I'm going to copy this book too. And I'm going to be able to copy those pages into all of the books. So if I have my students each have their individual book, I click copy to, I push these 2 pages out to my students on Monday morning, and then they can work in them. And then the next week, I do the exact same thing. All right. So Anne, we are not going to record this session and send it to you, but we are recording it live on YouTube. So you will have the ability to go back and watch this later. Okay. Probably like in the next day or so. All right. And then again, here is another section. I love this as a digital portfolio, my recent work. So as students start building books and documenting their learning, they can copy pages and move them into this digital portfolio and have this awesome documentation of their learning. I love the fact that we've got this art one included in here. Snap a picture of some really cool art that you're working on in school. Put a little audio button there telling us about it. This is just a lot of fun. And then again, more books that I've made, things like that. So I love this digital portfolio template. And you certainly don't need to use this one. You can create one of your own, but I think it's really cool. Okay. All right. Next thing that I wanted to talk about are these 3 books here. So we've got Online Friendships, Your Rings of Responsibility, and Pause and Think Online. These books, which Siobhan just put into the chat window as well, is that these books were created in partnership with Common Sense Education, and they are all digital citizenship books. And so if you were to click on these books, and again, the link is in the chat, it's also in our blog post, but these books are filled with awesome digital citizen lessons, digital citizenship lessons and ideas for you. All right. And for your students. So you can talk about it. You can look at key online vocabulary. As you scroll through, there's different scenarios. All right. That kids can play out. And then, there's even more stuff, right? And as you go through this, some of the books, this one has scenarios. If I go into, I think it's the Rings of Responsibility. If I go in through some of these, there's audio and there's video thrown in there so that your students can get a good understanding of what's going on. There you go, and get some lessons built right in. So these are super cool. And I did see a question here. Are there any remixable books? And I'm not going to answer that question. I'll let that one go to Siobhan. However, these books, all of these books are remixable. So if you wanted to remix any of these books in different languages, you can certainly do so. All right. So definitely want you to think about that. Pause and think online. So we've got these 3 digital citizenship books that are just awesome as well. All right. Now, the next book, this one is also going to be in our blog post, is our back to school book. All right. And again, this one's just another book for students to kind of use as a resource, as an interactive notebook, as in some kind of sense, right? But a lot of different things. So let's start off with an all about me, right? I loved as a new teacher and not even a new teacher, but every year that I was a teacher, I loved meeting my first group of students, right? The first day of school. And I loved handing out a piece of paper that I ran off on the copy machine, gave it to the kids, and it had questions, all about them. And so now I wish I would have had this back when I was in the classroom, because I would have done such amazing stuff. So all about me, right? Age, date of birth, favorite thing to do, where I live, people say that I'm. And so I think this is an interesting question right here, because I might think that I'm a certain way, but other people might think I'm different, right? Like I might think that I'm shy, all right, and an introvert. And people who watch my webinars might be like, really? Right? They would say something completely different. So it's interesting here to think as a person, I'm thinking about myself, but what do other people think about me, right? So I think this is kind of cool. Maybe put a map in of where you live. Favorite things to do, right? Maybe I can throw some comic panels on this page and talk about all of the really cool things, right, that I like to do. What's in my locker? Maybe we can take some pictures. If you still have lockers, in my former district, we started getting rid of all the lockers because kids didn't use them anyway. They kept everything in their backpack. And so if that's the case, maybe change this to say what's in my backpack, right? Instead of what's in my locker. But there's a really cool page in here that I love. So I love this. Tell me about your summer break, my coat of arms. And this one I thought was interesting. We kind of had a discussion about this one internally. Would students even know what this meant? All right. And so I was actually flipping through this book and my son walked by and he's 11. He looked over my shoulder and he goes, "Oh, coat of arms. What's that?" And I told him and he's like, "Oh, so it's kind of like a logo, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I want to be called the kid 4." And so he runs and he draws something and he decides that he was going to be the kid 4 and he was going to design a logo, right? And so he came up with his coat of arms. So it was really cool to see. All right. So I absolutely love this. This is probably one of my favorite pages of this entire book. And it's Find a Classmate Who. All right. I love this book because it gives your kids a chance to meet other students and find things that they have in common. So here's the page. Find someone who has brown eyes. And so I would take my computer or iPad or whatever and walk around the room and start looking at people and asking questions. Do you have brown eyes? Do you have brown eyes? And if I find somebody, I can click in there and I can take their picture. Now, I don't have brown eyes, but I'm going to use that as an example. I can take their pictures and put them right in there. All right. And so now the kids are getting to know each other. I think what happens sometimes in classrooms is we isolate ourselves, right? And I know that I'm a friend with Siobhan, so I'll just hang out with Siobhan and I might not talk to anybody else because I'm a little bit nervous. This activity kind of forces the students to walk around and find kids who have similar interests, similar features like brown eyes or whatever, some people who play Minecraft. So I just love this activity. And of course, everything in here can be changed. So if you don't want to play as Minecraft, you could put plays Angry Birds or bakes, right? I mean, you could change any of this at all. So this is really awesome. Now I'm going to back out of this book real quick. I saw something kind of pop up here as a question, and I want to talk about this. The question, I think, and Siobhan, you can clarify if I misread this question, but I think this will be beneficial anyway. I want my students to do this, right? I want them to do this book. So what's the best way to get the students to do this, right? How do I get this to the kids? And the way you're going to do that is you're going to invite them into your library. And once they're in the library, I'm going to call this book a template. Once the students are there, they're going to click the 3 books down here at the bottom, little book icon, and they're going to say copy book. And then they're going to choose your library. And guess what? It will put that copy right here into your library so you can see it as a teacher. But the student who made the copy will be the only one who can edit it. And then so for me, just a quick tip in terms of like library organization and as a teacher visually, because if I've got 35 of the same book in there, I might be like, right? Like, what do I do? So check this out. Where it says copy, I always have the kids change the name so that I know as a teacher that this is John's book. So I love this idea, but your students can make the copy and then they can certainly do that. And yes, Charlotte, students can collaborate on the same book in small groups if you want to. So you're going to click the share button, collaborate. And then right here, there's a couple of choices. Either everyone in the library can collaborate on the same book, so everybody's hands in a cookie pot. Or if that scares you, there will be a button here that says change. And if you click change, you can pick the 1, 2, 3, 4 students who want to be able to edit that book together, right? So you can put it in small groups if you want to. Okay, awesome. And yes, Marie, this book is free. Absolutely. Celia, the LMS question. So no, they do not submit it through an LMS from Book Creator. But what I have seen teachers do in Google Classroom or Schoology or something like that is just put an assignment that says, go to Book Creator, do your book. And when you're done, click submit on inside of the LMS. And that way as a teacher, I know you're done and I can go into the library and look at my books that way. All right. So hopefully that helps out there. But anyway, lots of really awesome stuff. And yes, your students can make copies of your books and then edit them. Now, all of these books that I've shown you so far, I feel are geared more towards just fun, kind of getting to know me activities, ways as a teacher that I get to know my students a little bit better. But we also have a partnership with this group right here called Empower the Learner. And I love this one, right? I absolutely love this book because it's definitely going to help you as a teacher. But the inside of this book is geared more towards having the students take that deep dive into themselves, right? And learn a little bit more about who they are as learners. And so I think this is designed to take, a few weeks to complete. But as you go through this, there are activities that you can listen to. All right. As a student, you can listen to the activity and then move on from there. And if you click the arrow, here's chapter 1, who am I, right? Or who I am. Listen, and then go and do, right? And so let's begin with some activities to help you as a student tell your story. So what are you good at? Click here to begin. Add some photos in here. And as you go through this book, in school, I like to do what? When I'm not at school, what do I like to do? So again, as a student, you're taking stock of yourself and you're kind of taking a deep dive and figuring out a little bit more about you. What are you most proud of as a student? All right, something that concerns me. So again, as you go through this book, it starts to get a little bit of background knowledge about the kids. But then I love this part right here. We started getting into this chapter 2. How do I learn? Right. So as a student, they are trying to figure out what ways they learn best. All right. And they are jumping in here and filling this out. So how do I engage? Right. How do I express myself? Right? So there's a lot of amazing stuff. What do I aspire to be? This could be something that takes you quite a while to finish, right? But it is really, really cool. So I absolutely love this. All right. And so Cindy, yes, so these are templates. They will be in our blog post all about going back to school, which we will share here towards the end of the webinar. But yeah, you will be able to make a copy of any of these books. All right. All right. So all of that was all geared towards the student. All right. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. Let me get to know you, that kind of stuff. So in the blog post, and it looks a little bit different than the book that I'm about to show you here. Hang on a second here. Let me refresh my page. There we go. In the book I'm about to show you here, there are some teacher created ideas for using Book Creator as you go back to school. All right. And again, a lot of the activities that we talked about already were more student centered, and these are more teacher ideas. All right. So I think about my son, and my daughter, they just got the notification of who their teacher was going to be. And in the email, it just simply said, your teacher is Mrs. McCallum. So what? Right? I'm like, I don't even know who Mrs. McCallum is. Well, guess what? As a teacher, you using Book Creator can create a Meet the Teacher page. So you can put your photo, you can put a video, audio recording, maybe some photos of your classroom to get the kids excited. Create that Meet the Teacher book and share that out with the students who are going to be in your classroom. I think that would be a really, really cool idea. A staff directory. So don't just share what the classroom is about. Maybe as a principal, you could create a staff directory in Book Creator and share that out with everybody so they know who's in the entire building, right? I love this idea. And I've seen it done a few times where the teachers will all create their own page in a collaborative book, put in videos and things like that. Really awesome idea. School maps. I know as a student, one of the scariest moments that I have had as a student going into a new school was the fear of not knowing where things were, right? Like I would freak out, like, where's the bathroom? Where's the cafeteria? Where's my classroom, right? Where do I go? Where's my friend's classroom? That kind of stuff. And so in Book Creator, why not use that picture of your school, the blueprint of your school, and start highlighting certain things. Like here's the smiley face, and this is where your classroom is, right? Draw using the pen tool and the emojis, things like that. Maybe you could even step it up a little bit and make this one is an example of a thing link, right? With an interactive map in there. So I can click on this and I can view the interactive map of the school. Or you could even go one step farther and take a video like a GoPro. And I don't know why, but I think like Blair Witch style, right? Like walking through the school and you could show the kids where everything is at. Hey, this is the classroom right here. Open the door and you go in and show a video. And if you need to, this is where the library is. And this is where the cafeteria and the gym and all that good stuff. So I love this idea of just finding ways, any way that I can to engage my students before they even walk through the door. All right. Message from the principal, classroom rules and procedures, right? Can we create a classroom rule book? And just a quick tip here. If you do create a classroom rule book, create it with your students, because then they will take much more stock in it and much more ownership in the rule process. Staff guides. This is actually this example from my old school district. We created a PD menu for all of the teachers. So as a tech integrator, we talked about all the tools that we had. We talked about the PD that we could give and things like that. And then teachers just went through it and they picked what they wanted to see. All right. So we've got a staff manual here, a vocational school newsletters. You can create yearbooks in Book Creator. Just so much. We've even seen teachers during remote learning, making all of their lessons in Book Creator so that when students go into Book Creator, they have the lessons for the week. They can go through them at their own pace, on their own time. There's just a ton of ideas here in these books and in the blog post that we will share here in just a little bit. Okay. All right. We're starting to run close to the end of our time. So I want to be the first to announce to all of you a new feature that just went live. I don't know what, Siobhan, 39 and a half minutes ago. All right. So I want to talk about a brand new feature. And for those of you who are who have been in Book Creator and have used Book Creator for years, I think you're going to fall over. So you might want to just sit down because this one is a big one. All right. So here I am in my library. And one of the things that I tend to do as I get ready for webinars is I just start putting books into a library. All right. And then by the time I'm done, they're kind of all jumbled up, right? They're all out of order. My introduction book might have been the first one I made. So it's like way over here. And I want it to be all the way over there on the left, right? And in the past, there wasn't a real good way to do this. You just had to copy the book, put it back in the same library that you were working on, right? And then it moved it to the front. All right. And that was kind of it. And then you went back and deleted the book that you didn't need anymore and you renamed the copy. So it was not really an elegant process. It worked, but it was just kind of, it was kind of there. All right. Well, I am proud to announce that as of today, if I click up here to the right, this little button that looks like 4 squares, right? If I go to grid mode, within my library, I can see all of the books in grid mode. Well, guess what? Now I can click this button that says reorder. And so I can take any of these books and just drag them and move them around into whatever order I want. And then when I click done, then guess what? Boom. All of my books are in the order that I need them in to present. So here's book number 1, there's book number 2, book number 3, and so forth. And again, some of you may be looking at me like, why is he that excited? Because I do a lot of webinars and having to like move things around has always been a little bit tricky. This is so cool, right? So I'm super excited about this. And some of you are as well. Now I'm going to go back to this grid, right? This grid mode, this waffle, as I saw somebody mention. And there's also another button here, and that is the select button. So not only can I reorder these books, I can click select, and then I can choose the books that I want in whatever order I want. And I can actually combine those books right from here. I don't have to go underneath the book and click combine and choose it. I can do it right from this screen. I can move multiple books to other libraries right from this screen. And I can now delete multiple books right from this screen. So I absolutely love that. So again, if you are not, definitely excited when you have lots of books, it definitely comes in handy. But so again, if you're in the library, just like this, if you click the waffle or the grid, then that's where you get those features. Diana, a real quick question says, what does combine do? So when you combine, so let's say I had 30 kids, they all made their own individual books. I can combine all of those books into one big book. All right. So it's just merging, as somebody said, multiple books into one big place. So it helps save space if you do have a limited number of books. So absolutely. And yes, if you do delete books, you can retrieve them by clicking the drop down here to the top left. And there's a section right there that says recently deleted. So you can click on that. And in there are my recently deleted books. And I'm just going to pull those back out and everything should be fine. All right. And so good question, Cindy. How do I publish these books? So here's how you do this. And you don't have to go anywhere else, Cindy. You can do that right from Book Creator. And it's super simple. And it's actually one of our newer features. So I'll talk about this real quick. If you click the share button and publish online, that's it. There's the title, the author. I give it a quick description. I choose whether I want my book to be private, which means only the people with the link can see it, or do I want my book to be public, which means anybody on the web can search it through Google. So I choose that one, and then I can turn on remixing. So if I turn on remixing, then I'm going to allow other people to take my book and edit it for their needs. All right. So I take that, I click publish online, and that's it. The book is online. I take this link, I send it out to parents. It is really easy to do. Right now, we don't do hard copies, but you can certainly download your book as a PDF, and you can print it out on your own using your own printer or send it to a print service if you want. But this is it. We love the online version, and I'll tell you why. I'm not saying hard copies are bad, but with the online version, videos, all the photos, the interactive stuff, the audio buttons, all of that is there, right? If it's a hardback book, it's not. So I love being able to have all of that multimedia in there. All right, now, so there you go. The remixing is not possible in the app right now. This is all for the online version. But again, there it is. I publish it online. We do also, for our paid accounts, have an analytics tab. So now you can see how many times your book has been read, how many countries it's been read in, and how many times your book has been remixed. All right, so there is a lot of stuff there to digest. And yes, Cindy, we did record this on YouTube live, so it will be on our YouTube channel probably in the next day or so. But yeah, lots of stuff. Siobhan, did I miss anything? Any questions? And as Siobhan's looking for that, I really just want to say thanks everybody for being here, taking some time out of your summer to participate in a webinar and get ready for back to school. I wish all of you the best of luck. I know that there's going to be some stress as you get ready to go back to school, but hopefully wherever you are, things are starting to come back to some kind of normalcy. And we'll be able to get back to doing what we want to do, right? Siobhan did just put the blog post into the chat window. So definitely want you to check out the blog post on going back to school, and be safe out there. Happy bookmaking. And before you go, if you could, in the chat window, just let me know, what are you most excited about? What are some of the ideas that you have? I got about 2 more minutes. I'll stick around to answer any leftover questions, but then I got to get ready for another webinar. So I'll be on YouTube again here in about 15 minutes. So anyway, thanks everybody so much. Really appreciate you being here, and have a great day, everybody. All right. Bye-bye. I'm going to stop the YouTube stream here, and I'm also going to stop sharing.